5 different companies released in-scale SD40-2s this year. I have an offering from all of them, and we're going to take a look.
This video is brought to you by Model Railroad Academy. Model Railroad Academy is your online resource for model railroad instructions, ideas, and information, with loads of tutorials and articles for model railroaders of every skill level. One of my personal favorites is Alan Keller's Great Model Railroads series. It is just so much fun to look at all of these different model railroads from all of these different great model railroaders and just get inspiration from those. Plus, you can find tutorials on everything from bench work to electronics to scenery, all sorts of things there. The first 1,000 people to sign up at the link in the description below will get a full year of premium membership to Model Railroad Academy for $1.49.
Kado, Bachman, Broadway Limited, Scale Trains, and Intermountain. Those are the 5 manufacturers. Each offering has its pros and cons. They also vary in price and availability. Let's start with Kado. Kado engines are known for reliability. You really have to try to break a Kado engine, and their SD40-2s are not different. They're also reasonably priced as well. Most Kado locomotives are available DCC ready with a simple drop-in decoder installation. Now, one thing that Kado is lacking in comparison to the other offerings on this list is detail. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't have detail. There's still more than enough detail on these locomotives. The paint is sharp and the plastic parts are crisp and have no flashing visible. Kado also feels a bit tougher than a lot of in-scale locomotives. A lot of times I feel like I'm just going to break it by looking at it wrong. I'm not saying that you can manhandle it, but it's going to hold up to a bit of handling. They also have their own coupler system that can be a bit of a hassle. If you're starting an in-scale railroad, Kado should be the standard for reliability for you, and that should be what you base the rest of your fleet on. Bachman has been a manufacturer for a very long time. They were originally known for their entry-level quality, but now their engines are pretty much a premium quality engine, and they run extremely well. I have several of them. The Bachman SD40-2s have a good balance of quality and features. The locomotives are the only ones that feature a soundtracks decoder, which I'm a big fan of soundtracks, so that's really cool to me. They do have their own coupler system, which does play nice with most. The details on this engine are pretty good. There are still some plastic molded parts on that you will find separately applied on higher end models. It also runs very well and is overall a very balanced engine. Next up is Broadway Limited. Broadway Limited is a premium manufacturer in my eyes, and they are known for pushing new features out, like in-scale smoke, for instance. For their SD40-2s, they offer them with their proprietary Paragon 4 decoders, which is full of features, including an added capacitor for getting over those dirty track spots. The locomotive is also very well detailed with loads of separately applied details, including working ditch lights. The locomotive looks and sounds great. It also has microtrains compatible couplers, so it should work fine with most rolling stock out there. Broadway Limited is another solid choice. Now we move on to Intermountain. Intermount is definitely an HO scale primary, but they do offer N-scale locomotives like this SD40-2. Overall, the detail is fantastic and on par with Broadway Limited in my opinion. This one has an ESU Loc sound decoder in it from the factory. Microtrains compatible couplers are on there, and it features working ditch lights as well. Take a listen to this one. Now, this locomotive is great, and it would be a fine addition to your railroad. I only have one minor gripe. Look at the gap between the fuel tank and the tracks, and just the space around the bottom in general. That's a little much. Here's a Broadway Limited right next to it, just for comparison. But I can overlook that, because it does run really well. Overall, it's a great locomotive. Now it's Scale Train's turn. Scale Trains is the youngest company on this list, and they're known for their extremely accurate level of detail in their rivet counter line. That is what the SD40-2 is part of. The detail on this thing is second to none. It is spectacular on this locomotive. Now, I bought the DCC Ready version and installed my own non-sound decoder. But if you buy it DCC and sound equipped, you get an ESU Loc sound decoder, the same as Intermountain. It's going to be the E24 decoder mount. But the sound profile may be a little bit different depending on which locomotive you get from which railroad. Now, the thing about Scale Train's locomotives is they are made as accurate to the prototype as possible. And as you can see, it looks really good. It has Microtrains compatible couplers, and that's a rare thing for Scale Trains as they have their own coupler design. My only note for this is if that you have faults in your track, like uneven track, this engine will find it. The engine's fuel tank is at prototype height. This means it can snag on rails if they are uneven, or let's say you have a rail joiner that didn't connect perfectly and isn't perfectly aligned. With my new modular setup, I'm finding a few issues like this. Now, to remedy this, I'm doing some filing of the rails to make the uneven spots more even. Overall, this is a great locomotive and it looks really good running on my layout. Well, there you go. The 5 N-scale SD40-2s that came out this year. Personally, I like them all for different reasons for each of them. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.